So it is all about one word, one event right now in Liverpool. I've never seen this city buzzing so much. Eurovision 2023. We've done it. Graham Norton announced it last Friday, and the preparations have already started. So that means we've got to start talking about it a bit more on the Guide Liverpool. And there's one bloke that knows way more about Eurovision than me. He's going to get us excited. His name is Rob Lilley, and he hosts a great podcast. Rob, tell us about the podcast first of all. What is it? How did it come about? Tell us all about it.
Of course. So I host the Euro Trip. So that is one of the world's biggest Eurovision podcasts. And we started it, well, a couple of years ago, we kind of relaunched it as a weekly podcast. So new episodes every Wednesday, where we cover everything to do with the Eurovision Song Contest. So people think it's just one night in May, right? People think that it's that Saturday night, there's the grand final, and that's it. But no, let me tell you that Eurovision is a 12-month-a-year thing. Honestly, there's selection shows where all the countries pick their artist. There is the host city announcement, of course, which we've just gone through, of course, with Liverpool winning out, of course, to host the contest in 2023 on behalf of Ukraine. And there is just so much to talk about. There's a junior contest that you might not know exists as well. That happens in sort of November, December time. So it's a whole year thing, the Eurovision Song Contest. We try and do our best to cover it on the podcast, and we love doing it as well.
What is it you love most about Eurovision? Because we're finding, as we're building up to this already, there's people who are literally fanatical and people who are obsessed. You know, you've seen hotels sell out already in the city. People will come far and wide, and not just people involved in the actual contest.
People often say that being a Eurovision fan is a bit like being in a cult, and I have to agree with that 100%. I'm a fully fledged member of that cult that is being a Eurovision fan, because yeah, people are obsessed. Like I said, people follow it for the entire year. What do I love about it so much? I think it's the fact that the event is unlike anything else. It is the world's biggest entertainment television program. No show on TV gets as many viewers as the Eurovision Song Contest collectively. 200 million viewers. That's just people watching on TV. That's not even the tens of thousands of people who, of course, will be traveling to Liverpool to watch the event. And it's that scale of it, I think, really, that I love so much. All of those countries that wouldn't necessarily all be in the same place at the same time, competing against one another. But unlike maybe sporting events where there's a bit of an intense rivalry and fans don't get on, they don't like each other, you know, it's just one big community. It's such a buzz, especially that couple of weeks when you've got the rehearsal. So that happens the week before the shows. And then you've got the semi-finals on the Tuesday night and the Thursday night, and then Saturday night, the grand final. And when those shows are on, when the rehearsals are on, when the fans are actually there in that one place in Liverpool in 2023, the buzz is just incredible. And it's such a warm, lovely atmosphere when everyone comes together.
Now, you were in Turin last year in Italy for this year, the 22 contest. What was that like in the build-up and during that big night? Just tell us what we can expect here in Liverpool from your experience being there this year.
So being in Turin for Eurovision 2022, you really get a sense of the scale of the event. And I think that's what people really need to understand. It's a bit of a slow build. So when it comes to maybe March, April time, you start to see banners around the city. You know, you start to really feel that Eurovision is coming to town. So whether that might be bus stops that'll have the Eurovision logo on. Each year, the contest has its own logo and artwork and slogan and theme, and those are all things that are going to come together over the next few months. So you might see those plastered on billboards, on bus stops, on trams, wherever you go. You know, maybe on Merseyrail, you'll see it on the side of there. Who knows? You might see it everywhere you go. And then, so that's, you know, like I say, end of March, beginning of April. And then you will start to see the whole organization come together, because like I said, this is the biggest entertainment television program in the world. So you will see the delegations begin to arrive. In that sense, it is a bit like the Olympic Games. You know, you will have delegations arriving from all of the various countries in Eurovision, normally around 40 countries. Maybe they'll be welcomed at the town hall, for example. And then you will see the whole city be taken over, not just by the fans, but the artists. They'll be performing across the city, I would expect, as well, in the run-up to the event. And also, there are ways in which Eurovision takes over a city that you will just not expect. So I was in Eurovision in 2015 when it was in Vienna, in Austria, and they even changed the traffic lights. So the traffic lights were Eurovision themed in 2015 in Vienna, in Austria, for Eurovision. So maybe Liverpool have got something in store like that as well.
We will cause chaos if we change the traffic lights in Liverpool. Obviously, I know why they chose Liverpool, and as I said, we're really buzzing in the city. The team at Culture Liverpool, the council who put this bid together, have done incredible things. In your opinion, as a Eurovision expert who've been to all of these contests, why do you think the powers that be chose our city to host this, Rob?
I think Liverpool is a good time. I think everybody knows that Liverpool is a good time. Everyone knows that when they come to Liverpool, they will be welcomed by the community there. It's such a warm, embracing community. We've seen that through history. I was going to say through decades, but through history, we've seen how welcoming Liverpool is as a city. It's got that music heritage as well. You don't need me to tell you about that and all of the brilliant connections Liverpool has got. Formerly UNESCO City of Music, I think, as well. And then there are the links, of course, that Liverpool has to Ukraine. I know twinned with Odessa in Ukraine as well, that port city. And we have to remember that this year Liverpool is hosting Eurovision on behalf of Ukraine. And Liverpool have already done a brilliant job in their bid for the 2023 contest of proving that they will put Ukraine front and centre of the contest in 2023. The events they'll put on, the ways in which they'll celebrate Ukrainian culture. And I think those are just a few of the reasons, but also the arena is perfect. You know, the M&S Bank Arena, that's going to be the perfect host venue. And the location of that arena, I think, as well, is key to this, because I've been to Eurovisions in the past where the arena might be a little bit out of town, you know, it might take you a little while to get to. But the location of the arena, you know, on the docks, not that far from the city centre, it's just going to be buzzing, the whole thing.
Do you know what? You know what you're talking about, Rob. You know more about Liverpool than I do. But we are buzzing, mate. What's the next step then? What will be happening now? Will Eurovision be here now? Will he be kind of working out a plan? What is happening? I know lots of work happening within Culture Liverpool, but what's going on Eurovision side?
So where we're at now in the Eurovision year, I suppose. So we're coming up to approximately 7-8 months away from the contest now. So Eurovision themselves, the organisers, the European Broadcasting Union, they'll of course be chatting to the team in Liverpool about the arena. They'll be discussing what they can and can't do with that arena when it comes to things like the stage design, for example, and the press centre where all of the world's media are going to be organised and where they'll be reporting from when it comes to the event in May. All of these discussions, of course, continue. When we get to January, we will have the draw in Liverpool for the semi-finals. So this is worth mentioning. There are 2 semi-finals when it comes to Eurovision, as well as the grand final. The United Kingdom are automatically in that grand final on a Saturday, so they don't have to take part in those semi-finals. But virtually every other nation, apart from the big 5, so that's the UK, France, Italy, Germany and Spain, and Ukraine this year as well, of course, they have to take part in the semi-finals. So we've got the draw for that in January. We've got the slogan that will be revealed at some point over the next few months as well, and the artwork and the theme. So that's the sort of visual identity of Liverpool 2023. We'll get that over the next few months as well. And then when it gets to Christmas time, so before Christmas, Ukraine themselves, they're going to select their artists that will be competing at Eurovision in 2023. Other countries will then start doing the same. And then when you get to January, February, and up until mid-March, each country will be selecting its acts. Countries do this in varying different ways. Some countries host their own mini Eurovision almost to pick their act to go and represent them at the Eurovision Song Contest. Some countries will pick their artist internally, like the United Kingdom. And then from mid-March all the way till May, we'll have pre-parties around Europe where the acts will go and rehearse and perform in front of fans in different countries. Also, they're match ready when they get to Liverpool in May.
Do you know what, mate? This is just so exciting. You've taught me lots there. I didn't know about the semi-finals, for instance. You kind of do focus on that one night in May, but there's just so much more to this. Rob, I'm gonna put you on the spot. How are you up for being our kind of official Eurovision correspondent on the Guide Liverpool in the coming months? Maybe get you on every couple of weeks just to give us a kind of heads up as to what's going on at that particular moment. Are you up for that?
Very, very up for it. Very keen. Always happy to talk about Eurovision, especially a Eurovision Song Contest that's coming to the UK.
Brilliant. And we will see you, I presume, in Liverpool later on next year.
Definitely. See you in Liverpool in May, 100%.